Hey guys, this is me, Crystal. So I am filming the sketchbook flip through video that I promised to do for you guys. Flipping through all the pages in my sketchbook from this past year of 2016. Excuse the nasaliness in my voice, I'm getting over a cold, but we shall press on. So anyways, so here is the sketchbook that I used for pretty much all of 2016. The brand is, I believe the brand is Travelog, or it's called the Handbook. I'll flip here. So maybe the brand's Handbook and it's just Travelog. Either way. I got the sketchbook from a local art store called Flax here in the Bay Area. I believe you can pretty much find these either at Blix, if you're familiar with that, or you can get them online for sure. So in the sketchbook I basically covered it with a bunch of stickers. I tend to do that a lot with my sketchbooks. I collect a bunch of stickers and I tend to just cover them with it. And so I believe this is an 8.5 by 5 size. Here's my hand for reference, but I really love this size and it's really easy to throw into a purse or to any size backpack that I have, and it's pretty lightweight and so it's not cumbersome to take it around. I used to draw in bigger sketchbooks and it was just becoming more of a chore to bring it around with me, so I decided to stick with a size that's similar to this. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and start flipping through it. Usually when I get a sketchbook, a brand new sketchbook, the first page is usually very intimidating. Sometimes to help kind of break that, I just get a marker, any sort of marker, like this, or a Prismacolor marker, and just make random shapes on the page and just kind of hope for the best and kind of make something of it. That usually kind of helps like break the ice to getting a new sketchbook started for me. So what I'm going to do is just like flip through the pages here and talk about some of the sketches, and some of the materials I've used. At the beginning of the year, I was definitely drawing a lot more from imagination than I was from like cafe sketches or going out and sketching some places, which I want to get back into. I just unfortunately got incredibly busy. But either way, it's still a good way to just get drawing every day. I was also really into doing a lot of marker work at the beginning of the year and experimenting a lot with combining inks and markers a lot. So a good example is that sometimes I'll use pages that I'm not a huge fan of, or backs of pages for swatches and testing out different materials. This is probably one of my favorite sketches that I did here. Here's a good example. I combined some marker and ink in this particular sketch. What I like to do, I started experimenting doing, is taking a water brush kind of like this, or you might also see water brushes like these as well. I tend to like this one better to do this particular thing with, just I feel like it has a little bit more room. And I usually take a bottled ink like the Winsor Newton inks and dilute them myself to create different ink washes, so it's easier to take them on the go. Other ones that are kind of pre-made are like this one from Pentel. This is already a diluted black, so that's like really nice to take on the go too. And so here I layered like marker on top of like the red ink wash that I was doing to kind of give it a little bit more depth. I also use my sketchbook a lot for kind of thumbnailing for gallery pieces that I'm working on, or for ideas for my Etsy store. Shameless plug here. And it just helps to kind of just do it old school, just drawing on pencil with pencil and paper for me sometimes. So here is some ideas I was working on for like notebook designs and like postcard designs. I also got my hands on some water soluble markers, and I was getting kind of into that, and kind of like a way to kind of not take my entire watercolor palette on the go and force myself with a little bit more of a limited palette. So like this one, for example, this Winsor Newton watercolor marker, these are really great. I also really love the Zig clean color ones. They come in a bunch of different colors. Some cafe sketches. Some more swatches from different markers. Now, if you've seen this piece online on my Instagram or Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, this is the actual original sketch for that piece. And then I scanned it and I did a digital version on top of it, cleaned up some of the, you know, wonky lines from the brush pen and everything, and then kind of unify some of the colors. And then I did an actual print for it. I also try my best to like write down the place and the date of where I was sketching. In this particular sketchbook I was kind of bad about doing that, but I was doing the best I could whenever I actually remembered. It's for my personal purpose, really. It's just so I can, when I look back on sketchbooks, and kind of remember, oh yeah, this was a great place to go sketching. And it's also nice to see some of the people I sketched too, because they could inspire characters in the future. Some more thumbnails, rough drafts of things I was working on for my store. This was a sketch that I did when I started at Big Fish Games in April. And I also try to make it a daily habit to bring my sketchbook wherever I go, just so I know I have it with me. Because you never know when an opportunity presents itself to just whip it out and just start sketching. It's also kind of like a comfort thing, so I can, if I have like an idea right then and there and I don't have anywhere else to put it, I can just always put it in my sketchbook and I know it's always going to be there. And this is just some sketches from a meeting at work. We also do our outings with the art team at work, and so this was one of the outings that we did to the museum in Berkeley, and this was just some sketches from the park and from inside the museum as well, and wrote some notes of things that I wanted to remember, do a little more research on. More gallery sketches. I was experimenting with some more of the water-soluble markers there and pencil. More swatches and random doodles. Guest sketch from my friend Chie. You might know her as Tiny Snails. She was playing with some of my materials and did a cute little sketch. Here was a lot of the, I believe it was these ones that I used. It was the Winsor Newton watercolor markers in Pale Rose, and I believe, is it, I don't know if I have it on me. Oh, here, yes, yes I do. On this one right here, Burnt Red, there we go. I really like these two together. I feel like they really create a really nice color combination. And then I went on top of it. It was either a Micron or this pen I got from a Japanese store here in the Bay Area, and It's a refillable pen. Super, super tiny. I don't know if you can. Very, very fine tip. Went on top of that because the previous, I tried doing something with this first and then going on top of the watercolor markers, and it didn't play so well. So, and then that's what like a sketchbook is really for, just experiment, just try new things. Sketches from when I went to the California Academy of Science Museum. I always get that name mixed up, but they have a whole floor filled with aquariums, and they also had a penguin exhibit as well. I meant to ink these, but I just kind of forgot. For my birthday, I went camping north of San Francisco. I think about like 3 hours north, near the coast, and it was amazing. And so I went completely analog for that trip, and just brought my sketchbook, a couple of supplies as far as what to draw in, and a lot of it was, you know, those water-soluble markers and some microns. And I also brought a Polaroid camera. So I could turn off my phone, not even worry about being consumed with technology and social media, and just really just be in the moment. Around that time, there was a "What's in my bag" meme going around on Twitter for artists. So I did a "What's in my day pack," what I was taking with me when I was hiking around while I was camping. And some sketches from our campsite as well. That was fun to do. Sketch of a lady that caught me sketching her. Those stories are usually funny. Yeah, she wasn't too happy and proceeded to storm away. I started listening to a lot of podcasts this past year, and one of them was Lore. If you happen to listen to that one, the Cora episode was probably my favorite. That was a sketch inspired by that. More cafe sketches. I actually wrote down where and when this time. So it was at the Mill in San Francisco in August. Thumbnails are figuring out the art book that Kenny, or you might know him on social media as Kenny Chafee, collaborated on for our first art book called Valencia. Those were sketches trying to figure out if we ended up going in a completely different direction, but you know, this was just stuff to try to figure out for that. Sketches from the airport. The airport's like a great place to draw, and especially if you're killing time waiting for your flight or a layover. This was us waiting for a flight to take off to Portland. I was visiting my best friend and her boyfriend at the time. I didn't get to sketch too much when I was in Portland, just because it was my first time there, so I was, you know, going around and seeing the sights and everything. So went to Stumptown Coffee, got a couple sketches in there. At work, we also get an opportunity to do a lot of life drawing about once a month. I mainly do that on newsprint paper and with different materials, but at the time I forgot to bring those materials, so I ended up just, you know, since I had my sketchbook on me, which was great, I just ended up just doing it in there, which was a different challenge for me because it was, you know, doing it in a much smaller space, and decided to do them in pens to challenge me a little bit more, not relying so much on pencil and erasers to try to get more of the gesture down. I believe this was a cafe in Oakland here. In October, I moved to Oakland, and just trying to find some more new cafes to go sketch in, and I believe this was one in Oakland. This was from a sketch meetup held by Tan Kim, this lovely woman right here. We've been meaning to meet up for seems like forever now. We finally got to meet each other in person, which is great, and got to sketch with a bunch of other artists. That turns out we all went to the same school, which was actually pretty funny. So that's pretty cool. That was fun. When I went on holiday, did a lot of TV channel flipping, was rewatching Stranger Things and random episodes of Ghost Hunters. Got a chance to break away and go visit some cafes I've never heard of before and or been to before in San Diego on holiday, and so that was nice to check out. Also went to the San Diego Zoo. I should probably label that, obviously, but went to the San Diego Zoo to draw some of the animals there. It was kind of like my old stomping grounds. I used to work at the San Diego Zoo as an artist, so it was nice to kind of visit some of my old coworkers and see some of the exhibits I used to frequent a lot. More airport sketches. Sketches around the new year. I was trying out a new color brush pen. It's a purple one. Really, really love the vibrancy of this color. Definitely got to use it more. And more life drawing sketches. This time I really did forget my newsprint pad, so did it in my sketchbook again. So I think I'm going to make a rule of thumb: if I forget my newsprint supplies for live drawing, if I'm doing it in my sketchbook, I have to do it in pen to force me to be a little bit more choosy with my lines and line of action. And then I took one of the poses that I did here in the quicker studies and just did a more fleshed out version. The model was great, so I was really super inspired by her. And that's it. That's it for the sketchbook. What's really nice about the handbook sketchbooks is that it comes with this back flap, clear back flap. You can put anything in there, like receipts, stickers, or whatnot in there. I really like. Very similar to the Moleskine setup, right? They also have a back flap as well. What I really like about this is that it's clear, so then it's actually easier for me to remember what I put back there, because sometimes in some of the other various Moleskine ones, I'll put things back there to keep with me and I'll just like completely forget that they're back there. But yeah, that is my entire sketchbook for this past year. The sketchbook really did treat me well, and I want to make it more of an effort to be a little bit more consistent in drawing in it, not just on and off like I was through mainly, I would say like the middle of the year. I was getting a little inconsistent in drawing in it, so I want to be better about that. And so a new sketchbook for this year is I wanted to try something a little different. I wanted to try this really cute square format and see how that goes. This is also by the same brand handbook, and the olive green color was actually really pretty. I usually don't normally go for something like this. I usually try to like just stick to black and just call it done. I'll probably start putting stickers on it pretty soon. It comes with, you know, nice little elastic closure like the other one does. Also comes with a nice yellow ribbon. So that's nice. Yeah, so I'm hoping the year would bring me a lot more adventures and more things to sketch about. So let me know if you like seeing videos like these. I was thinking of doing kind of like what's in my art bag or something like that, just to kind of go through some supplies I like to take with me on a daily basis. Yeah, leave comments below if you have any questions about things that I used or pages that you saw that you have more questions on as far as like what I did. Feel free to leave them, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye!